Greetings and welcome back once again to my channel. I'd like to thank one of my first followers who always likes my readings online. I don't even think he listens to half of them, but for some reason he likes them all the time. So, you know who you are. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Okay, God bless. Anyhow, so earlier today I did a reading and it was about, hey, don't sabotage yourself in your relationship because you got one coming. So read that tarot reading if you're in some situation where you're resisting a relationship. Other than that, today we're doing a Celtic or Celtic tree oracle reading, otherwise known as an Ogham tree alphabet reading, utilized by the Druids, came out thousands of years before the birth of Christ. Okay? So the Romans did not like Celtic practices and pretty much went into sacred spaces, cut down all their sacred trees, and in Essex they literally built churches on these spiritual centers where the communities got together to commune, gather, practice their beliefs, decipher on legal issues, etc., etc. So this is a very powerful form of tapping into spiritual energy. And my pups agree. Anyhow, so the first card of this reading is representative of the hawthorn tree, okay? This is the alphabetic letter for the hawthorn tree, okay? Representing H. Cleansing, fire, protection, defense, fertility, masculine energy. But don't take that all to heart because there's so much more to this reading that meets the eye. Okay, and then the second card is the Code Grove or the Cod Grove or the Druid Groves. Holgasha! This is about listening, speaking, communicating, sacred places, conflict resolution, justice, and counsel. But this meaning is so much more. A close association to the Druid Groves would be Stonehenge, as an example, but primarily during this time period, forests were extremely thick. So when they found a clearing in a forest, it was perceived as a very sacred place. The belief in worshiping within a structure was frowned upon. They believed in being a part of nature, that everything was interconnected. They chose their groves of worship and gathering specifically based on an energy point. This is a place people would go in order to connect with Mother Earth and all aspects of Mother Earth. Okay, and then the next card is the blackthorn tree, otherwise pronounced as strafe or strife. And this is the alphabet letter for this Ogham tree or Celtic tree alphabet used by the Druids, symbolizing external forces, triumph, strength, control, authority, death, and new beginnings. And then our last card would be the holly tree. And I'm not sure how to pronounce this because I had seen that the pronunciation for this tree was China, or I'm not sure if it's tin, but it stands for the letter T. And this is the Ogham tree or Celtic tree alphabet letter for this used by the Druids. Home protection, weapons, warriors, immortality, unity, courage, stability of home. Okay. Firstly, these trees, the big energy with these trees is masculine energy. Okay, there's a lot of masculinity involved with the trees and the letters that are being presented to us today. And I beg you to bear with me because no matter how I try to make these readings within 60 seconds, it's not happening here. The hawthorn tree, a masculine energy. Code Grove or Cod Grove, the Druid Grove. Druids are closely associated with the oak tree, another masculine tree. The blackthorn tree, I can't remember if it was feminine or masculine, but either way, the holly tree is also another masculine tree, which could also be related to a father figure, or you being a father figure, or somebody having some unresolved issues with their father. Okay, now let's take this back a step. Bam, hawthorn tree. The hawthorn tree is a symbol of protection. Usually they would plant a hawthorn tree outside of their house for protection. They didn't like bringing it in because when the flowers blossomed, a lot of the blossoming flowers would smell like death. And a long, long time ago, they would actually bring the bodies of the deceased into their homes in order to say their goodbyes. So bringing the smell of a hawthorn blossom into the house would symbolize bringing about death. So people didn't like doing that. However, if you took a branch and you wrapped a red ribbon around it and you put it underneath your child's bed or within your house, it would bring protection. The hawthorn tree is also closely associated with May Day, the starting of summer. And a lot of the men and women would go out into the forest on May Day and they would come back. They would go through kind of like a ritual, a mating kind of ritual, right? So although that this is associated with masculinity and fertility, this is also about the purification, starting new, okay? So we've got fertility, the beginning of a new season, the end of winter, symbolizing death and protection. So we've got a lot of endings and beginnings. It's a very powerful tree, and most significantly, it is associated with the fairy realm. And if I've lost you here, trust me when I say you want to talk about fairies in the fairy realm. These are like three-dimensional beings that are magical. We can't see them. And if you want to believe in fairies or you want to even investigate the idea of this energy source, you really should do your own reading about it, because the hawthorn tree was seen as an entrance into the fairy realm, and these fairies are extremely powerful energy sources. So the hawthorn tree is coming in here and it's giving birth to a lot of new things coming into life. It could be new relationships, it could be the end of someone's life, it could be the need for protection, the end of a season, but it also symbolizes having to let go of the old in order to start the new. It's spring cleaning time. Get rid of baggage. And then we have this really spiritual realm here, the Druid Groves, okay? And this is the alphabet letter for the Druid Groves. Listening, speaking, communication. It's a sacred place, conflict resolution, justice, council. These people, a lot of them, not just like 4 or 5, would gather in these areas in order to discuss and make decisions about what's going on in their communities, kind of like a judicial hearing. There was a lot that would be discussed about the community here. And on top of that, they would tap into people who have passed on, deceased relatives, ancestors. But this is also a place where someone would go in order to, it's like that point in your life where you're like, hey, okay, what decisions have I made to lead me up to this point in my life? What have I done to lead me to this point in my life? What could I do better? So, whatever's going on with new relationships, a lot of you might be sitting back going, okay, where is my relationship going to go? What did I do to get my relationship to this point? Or feeling as if they have to protect oneself. How did I get myself here? What disruptions have I had in my life to this point? This is suggesting that whatever's going on in this person's life that this reading pertains to, they're sitting back and they're kind of taking note. They're tallying up what they've done and what they haven't done to lead themselves to this point. And then we have the blackthorn, and this is about having to defend oneself, protect oneself, because shit is hitting the fan. A lot of difficult things are coming at you. This is about being calm in the face of adversity. Stay calm, carry on, have strength to pursue your goals regardless of what's coming at you. You have to be fearless at this time. This is a tree that will grow when everything else is dying around it. It is time for strength in the face of adversity. And last but not least, the Holly card comes in and it represents a very strong male force, a very strong protective male force. This is winning in battle. This is triumph. This is stability in home. This is protecting everything you love. And this is your reading with Madame